everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Sleep Like a Boss podcast. I am very honored to have a very special guest here today, and that is Clarissa Burt. And some of you might be thinking the name sounds familiar, the person is familiar. She might be to you. I'll get into her bio in a second. First of all, Clarissa, welcome to the show.
So good to be here, Annika. Thanks.
It is a pleasure to have you. And I have to congratulate you because you have been knighted recently.
On June 4th or 5th, I think it was. I was knighted in Las Vegas by the Sovereign and Royal Order of Cappadocia, St. Augustine, and St. Helen. Cappadocia is in Turkey, and St. Helen is Constantine the Great's mother.
Yeah, and now you're one of the 350 dames worldwide. That is very special. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's an extraordinary honor, and I'm thrilled. I've also taken on the grand prior for Italy for this royal order. So we'll be doing more. I lived in Italy for 30 years, so we'll be doing many things over there as well. Very exciting.
Oh, yeah, that sounds very exciting. And for those of you who might recognize Clarissa or don't know who she is, let me give you a quick rundown of her bio, and some of you might recognize her. She is an internationally acclaimed award-winning media personality. She's a producer, a director, writer, public speaker, and this is why you might also know her from, a former supermodel.
Oh, yeah. That was a long time ago.
That was yes. Yeah. And you also won the Celebrity Survivor show. And
I did.
Yeah. And you've been on hundreds and hundreds and appearances on TV, on the radio, on the internet, everywhere. And you even also own a media company, which is called In the Limelight.
Yep.
And you do also have a podcast, and you issued a book last year, and that is what we're going to talk about today. And the book is called The Self-Esteem Regime.
Absolutely.
And it is an interesting story. And for somebody, honestly, when we decided you were going to come on the show, there was this moment of self-esteem of, oh my God, there's going to be a former supermodel on the show. She's like a media person. But self-esteem is something that I think in our industry with sleep and insomnia, we see this so much. And I'm sure you talk to so many people about this. About if you're not sleeping well, you don't feel great, you don't look great, you're not yourself, and people are really starting to, not believe in themselves anymore.
Yeah,
that's what it
is. Here's
a
really cool thing too. Just the name of your show, Sleep Like a Boss. Well, yeah, I think one of the most important things I think in my world is, I'm the boss, and that means a lot. I have a lot of responsibility, as many of your listeners most likely can relate. But the importance of, getting the kind of sleep that we need when we have so much on our plates that we just don't know. In Italian, they say, I don't know who to give the rest of me to, because whatever little is left, I don't know who to give that to, because there's too many people or things waiting for my attention. So here's what I say about everything that is self-care. And that is certainly one of the most important things is sleep. You have to stop. You have to get your sleep under the self-care umbrella. And there are many things. Sleep is number one. That's it. There's no getting around that. And why that is because, look, if we don't sleep well, it's going to throw all our hormones off, and that's never fun for anybody. And the other part is you get cranky. You're not yourself. You really need to be, the best you can possibly be for those around you. And that's basically what we talk about in self-esteem. But more importantly, self-care is something that you must absolutely insist upon and be extremely jealous of, meaning nobody else comes into that time. Nobody else breaks those rules. You have it in your calendar, just like you would have it in your calendar with every other thing that you're giving time to. The veterinary, the dog's got to go to the vet, and you have to get a haircut. Maybe if you're lucky, you're going to get a manicure. The kids have to be picked up from soccer practice. And don't forget, you have to go buy some food at the supermarket, and then you're going to come back and you're going to cook it, and then you're going to feed everybody, then you're going to clean up after that, then you're going to go to your emails, and all while you're doing that, you're checking your phone every 30 to 45 seconds. It's a stressful existence if we allow it to be. Therefore, that time, whether it is soft meditation for 15 minutes or more, if you're lucky, or the sleep that we are talking about must absolutely be put into the calendar like every other thing that you give time and attention to. Nothing is more important than you, your health. And if you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, if you go down, it all goes down with you.
So true. And where is this passion coming from for this topic?
I guess because I have I work with women, I speak with women frequently. I have a mastermind of women that I love my mastermind. These women are amazing, amazing human beings. And it always comes up. It always comes up. I'm so tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overdrawn, I'm over this, I'm over that. Well, I'm just over being over it. You know what I mean? I'm just over it. And so at this point, I understand that I'm a much better self than I used to be, because I used to work 15, 16 hours every day, Annika. When COVID hit and we had nowhere else to go, I was pulling double shifts every day. I was getting a whole lot done and feeling busy, but I don't know that I was really any more productive. I'm not quite sure that I was. When I said to myself, okay, after 2 years, new rules, 12 hours on and 12 hours off. Now that I've given a little give and take on each end, a little bit more sleep time. It doesn't mean I sleep the 12, but maybe I'll take a bath. Maybe I'll read a book. Maybe I'll give it attention to something maybe I'll stop and do my nails, or it will give me a little extra time to do something I truly enjoy. A phone call with a girlfriend with a nice glass of wine or something. I insist now that it is 12 on and 12 off. Now, I don't have a husband and I don't have children, so I understand that may not be the perfect formula for everyone, but there is that perfect formula. You can find the time, you can carve out that time, and you must insist upon, Wow, how you work that out. Mommy has her time now. Mom needs her time now. I've given to you, you've gotten what you need, your needs are all met. Now mine must be met too. And I don't know that enough women come to the table with that kind of, argument, if you will, or that kind of discussion with their own children and family, because they feel guilt right away. And you must stop feeling the guilt, ladies. This is another part of self-esteem. You'll find it in the book as well, my book, The Self-Esteem Regime. You've got to be able to understand that you are most lovable when you're loving yourself. You're not taking anything away from anybody. I mean, yes, if there's an emergency, of course, this is not the discussion we're having. What we're having is on a daily basis. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be. Everybody's got their tasks. Everyone has their chores. And in my house, we had implemented, my parents had implemented a little bit of you only get your allowance. If your things do get done, you don't get anything for free. There's too much being given for free these days. I think we need to be stopping and saying, we need to be teaching the kids, you gotta work. That's the way it is. You get your right reward when you do the work. And that will, I think, take off some pressure.
Yeah. And I think that guilt, it's actually quite interesting that you're saying that, because people I work with are anywhere from 25 to 70. And I even have that exact conversation with a lady right now who's in her 70s. And she, of course, is a mom, is a grandma of many, many grandchildren. And the setting boundaries without feeling guilt, even then, is still a topic. It is still a topic, which is sometimes mind-blowing to me, because I'm the same way. I'm like the type A, go, go, go. The more, the better. And I've burnt out twice, and I've learned my lesson the hard way. And you're exactly right. It's this having that conversation first with yourself, I think, to see where you're actually at and where things are just not going the way they should be.
Yeah.
And you're part of it. Like, I am part of that equation that makes it not work. And then having that conversation, which could be uncomfortable. I understand that. With the family, to sit down and reassess, right? And then make a plan. Like you said, how can other people take stuff? What do we not need to do at all? That's always my first thing. Like, right? Are there things we can just get rid of?
Yeah.
And then how can we?
Boundaries, first of all, most people think that boundaries need to be, first of all, boundaries is not an attitude.
Yeah.
People think, oh, I got boundaries, you got an attitude. Hold on. No, I don't. Um, um, Boundaries are also, they can be and must be set up with ease, with joy, and with glory. It is a very calm and loving and tranquil conversation that you have, because what you're doing is teaching people how you will and will not be treated, how you will and will not be spoken to, and how you want to be respected, because it's what you're bringing to the table for others as well. I bring respect. I bring, I listen to you. I'd like to be listened to. It's fair and even and equitable. So boundaries are a very good and very healthy thing. Most people, as what we said already, they kind of feel like, oh, that's being too hard, or it's being too harsh, or they're going to think that I'm, angry. No, there's none of that. It's how I will and will not be treated, number one, as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, as a co-worker. These are the things that you must understand that are okay and are not okay. Now, you don't want to come in, you want to be reasonable with your boundaries, but they must feel like truth to you. It's what will make you feel best in any and all situations. And it can be something as simple as, hey, can we talk for a second? That thing, I've been thinking about what you said last night. And would you mind if we had a conversation a moment? And by the way, this is not angry, but I do want to bring to your attention that when you said that I was difficult to live with, I'm making this up as I go. What did you mean by that exactly? Can I get a little bit, and then try to, make it, well, listen, I did that and I said that because of these. You must also have, reasons. There's a reason you're setting these boundaries. So, yeah, boundaries are, I'm going to go like self-esteem 102. Self-esteem 101 is never compare yourself to anyone else. Self-esteem 102 is set those damn boundaries now.
Yeah. And going back to the one-on-one, what you just said is don't compare yourself to anyone. I think in the time of, and even just in the time of looking at social media, TikTok, Instagram, right? That's just influencer life. It's set up to be that way. So we really have to be aware of that and put that.
Careful of what perception is.
Yeah.
Be careful of what the perception, your perception is one thing, the truth is another. Very rarely are they 100% spot on. So, be careful when you're taking a look at, oh, she's so much bigger, better, bolder, brighter, more intelligent, more beautiful. She's got her, stuff all together, when you haven't walked a mile yet in her shoes. And the first thing that we default to as humans is wanting to compare ourselves to everyone else. And social media has absolutely played a huge hand in that. But, I also know of many different marketing gurus and digital marketing gurus and MLM gurus and people that are renting the villa for the day and renting the 2 Lamborghinis out front for the day. So, and look, there are plenty that have done it, worked hard and earned it, and others that are trying to cheat the system. So be very, very careful about who you believe, what you believe, where you're getting your information from, and what you believe you perceive. Be careful what you believe you're perceiving, is better said. Yeah.
And I think, because I just had that conversation with another client the other day who was saying, why does my partner, or you can put anybody in, my best friend or whoever, why do they watch TV and then fall asleep? No problem. Can be on their phone, fall asleep and no problem. Exercise their hearts out and fall asleep with no problem. Can eat whatever they want, don't gain weight and sleep well, don't have blood pressure.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different. So especially the gals like you and me, who are full on 100% energy, wanting to get so much packed into a day, wanting to feel good, really passionate about what they do, wanting to feel productive, and really just, I think it's the passion that kind of keeps us moving and going as much as it does passion in all things. And when it comes time to finally fall asleep, sometimes it can be a little more challenging just to sort of got to unwind a little bit. You got to unwind a little bit. So, give yourself the extra time. Could be 15 minutes, could be 20 minutes to do whatever it is that will help you do that. and you should fall asleep beautifully. If and again, it's more your conversation than mine to say. And then if that isn't working, you probably are going to want to go down a more medical path and take care of what's happening with hormones, because that's huge, especially as we move into menopause. Super important. I had no idea how important hormones were to sleep and our sleep patterns. So, and I know that firsthand because my sleeping changed completely once I went into menopause, completely. And so that was a wake-up call. Believe me, it was really interesting. I still don't wake up 2-3 times a night. But I do feel always rested. I'm feeling, that I've kind of worked my way into my perfect place when it comes to getting the rest that I need to be the best I can possibly be every day, physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Yeah. And do you have a few tools or tips on how people can do something about their self-esteem?
Okay. Here's what self-esteem or sleeping?
Or sleeping, which one you want to pick. We'll go with sleep.
As you well know, being German, one of the things that, we don't know about as much in the United States is what they know beautifully in Europe. And I lived in Italy for 30 years between France and Italy. So I know the chamomile tea. Chamomile tea is just a beautiful, soothing, non-caffeine, little bit of honey in there, possibly just a nice sipping moment. It's almost like a sipping ceremony before you go to sleep at night. Maybe it's a chapter in a good personal growth book, and the self-esteem regime, and you just sort of, you take that time. It could be a bath. I mean, I don't know how much time it could be. Honestly, it could be 8 minutes in a bathtub and some, Epsom salts or something for a nice detox, right? So there are lots of things, essential oils. So lavender oil, adore. Bottom of your feet, lavender essential oil. There's nothing like it, right? Or you can spray, right? Some lavender essential oil if you mix it with other things, and you can find that all on YouTube. Mix it in a spray bottle and spray your pillow. Or there are many different things. So there are the essential oils, there are teas, there are baths that we can put lovely things, again, like Epsom salts, and even there are even sleep Epsom salts that help you sleep. I forget what's in them, but certainly lavender would be in there as well. So all of these kinds of things, and it could be just a quick unwinding phone call with a girlfriend or someone that you need to get back to, those kinds of things. Obviously a glass of wine, if that's something that you enjoy. I can't do too much of that because then I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning with my heart beating. So I can't do a second glass. I can do it first. And that really just helps us, kind of lull ourselves to sleep. Some people do television. I also do TikTok. That's my time. I go in, I lay down, I TikTok until I fall asleep, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's interesting because some of those we would, as sleep coaches, we would say don't necessarily maybe do them, but if they work for you, try them out. I think the important one that you said that we often forget is this interaction with other humans and not the screen. Pick up the phone and talk to your best friend and just have a quick check-in. How was their day? How was yours? It makes a world of a difference. And that's the thing we kind of keep chasing. I find in a lot of times, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Or we quickly text, right? Then the phone comes, like the texting replaces it, a quick Instagram note or Facebook message. And that's just different.
Journaling, Annika, journaling.
Yeah.
Right? Just writing down, and it could be your time for even maybe a little list making for tomorrow, but journaling what worked, what didn't work today. How you feeling, some doodles. I mean, there's nothing like pen to paper. I really have to agree with you. Those old ways, let's put down the device. I agree. But I live in Phoenix, Arizona, which means right now I'm on PST time. And so most of the people that I'm talking to,
Clarissa?
When I'm going down at 8:30 to make sure that they're all people in my area. But again, a beautiful journal, writing some things down. Maybe you do have a favorite TV show. Why not? Yeah, get on there, watch it. That's why we all, have our subscriptions to different Hulus and Netflixes. So get in and do the things, catch up on your, on your favorite shows. And there's different ways of just unwinding. I think we all know them, but some of them that really people I don't think take into consideration are the essential oils or the, again, the tea, the chamomile tea, which is so soothing and really helps, that's what chamomile is. It's a relaxant, right? So there you go. I mean, that's kind of what I do.
Awesome. And it seems to be working well. Great. And I agree. The point with menopause is such a big shift for women specifically. And if we're already seeing in perimenopause, so like in your 40s, if there's already an issue with stress management and sleep and self-care, because it isn't a lot of times. Your kids are kind of growing up. Your parents might be starting to come to an age where they need your support, right? You're kind of sandwiched into everybody else's life. Meanwhile, you're trying to have a career potentially, and it's a bit much. But those are the times where we kind of need to start building those routines to support the body to then when that transition comes, which is inevitable. And yes, hormones are going to be all over the place and they're potentially going to mess with sleep then big time, that we kind of at least have that stress down, that we have that self-care there to have tools to fall back to when it gets a little rough.
You mentioned yoga and meditation, but that's kind of, it's superfluous. Yoga, meditation, some stretching, breathing exercise. Breathing is amazing. Deep and heavier breathing, deeper breathing is what I really mean to say. I mean, you can be out in just a few minutes time. And there are plenty of even great apps for these kinds of things that kind of, they expand. You've seen them, they expand and they contract and you breathe along with these beautiful images. So I think that, there's all kinds of ways that we can decompress, that we can, relax, and that we can, sort of, thank God for another beautiful day and that tomorrow, the universe is going to show us a whole new way.
Absolutely. And I think, gratitude is definitely one of those really big ones.
I say that I like to live high, right? And that is, I like to live in honesty, integrity, with gratitude, and with honor. And I think that to me that's pretty much the reassumption of everything that is self-esteem. So if you're living honestly, you're feeling pretty good about yourself, because there's nothing worse than being dishonest. I don't think anybody feels good about themselves when they're being dishonest. Living in integrity is, those are your moral principles. Those are your values. This is, just because other people don't live in integrity doesn't mean you don't have to, or somebody else is breaking the rule doesn't mean you need to, I mean, you really need to say, no, I'm honest. I want to live in integrity and gratitude. I can tell you, list 5 of them right now. Anybody, just as we're sitting here thinking, what are the 5 things you'd be living in gratitude for right this very moment? If you can't come up with 5 really quickly, you need to take some time to figure that out, because there's 100 things that we could say right now that we need to be living in gratitude for. And honor. Honor is when, who are you when no one else is in the room? Who are you? How are you acting? How do you react? Who are you when no one else is in the room? Are you doing the right thing? And that is it. That's basically another, really great encapsulated thought for self-esteem is right and wrong. And what the difference is, and what you should be doing. So that's something that I think is, for me at least, is very important.
Yeah. And I think the one thing is the taking the time to actually sit down and do that assessment for yourself, because you've been living in a super rushed world. You might have just actually deviated from your values, or your values might have changed over time, right? And it kind of sometimes needs to sit down and then reevaluation, and then the actual taking action, doing what you want to get to that point, right?
What you want to do, who are your values? What's your moral code? That's what you need to know. Right? Values are a person's principles or standards of behavior. So where is it that I know I have to I can fly off the handle quickly because something frustrates me. Nope, I don't do that as much anymore. I used to do it a lot more when I was younger. I don't do that anymore because it's not helping me. And certainly I don't want anyone else to see me that way. It's not who I want to be. I want to live in honor. I want to be a better person tomorrow than I am today. So what I have learned is to take, we were talking about breath before, to help us fall asleep. I want to take 3 deep breaths to help me calm in any situation. You know, life will trigger you, people trigger you, situations trigger you. And you need to learn the kind of patience and tolerance that best serves you and others, of course. But yeah, absolutely.
Great. And can we talk about one more thing when we talk about gratitude? And that is, I find, and that's especially if you haven't slept, like you said, like we're grumpy, we didn't get emotionally regulated overnight. It's just like we're missing something. But we as humans also have a tendency to not always look at the bright side of life, I find. And that I think does affect self-esteem very much, very quickly. Can you talk a little bit about that and what to do about that?
Yeah, absolutely. But who do you want to be? You know, who do you want to be?
Like happy, yeah.
Happy, healthy, fulfilled, you know, write it all down. This is who I want to be. This is how I want to be perceived by the world. This is how I want to present myself to the world. And then you work toward that. It's almost like a reverse engineering, if you will. You know, you have to know, you know, who is it, your perfect you. You know, I say perfect, you know, obviously air quotes, but you know, you have to also work on your emotional intelligence, and that's, you know how to understand what triggers your emotions. And that's what I just said, those things that make me go, and I go, oh, so I've understood, it's triggered me. And how now can I apply something a little bit more healthy and a more appropriate reaction to what, and that's also that self-regulation, it's self-awareness, it's empathy in all of its forms, it's your social skills, right? So even if I'm alone, you know, I still want to be kind of social with myself. I want to be kind to myself as well, and not, you know, these are learned behaviors. This is what I learned in my childhood, that, you know, anger was a way of dealing with, raising your voice, and all of that was a way of dealing with things. And so I thought it was normal until I found out, gee, that really is not normal at all. And so, you know, you have to own your emotional intelligence, right? So again, it's the ability to understand, to use, and to manage your own emotions in positive ways to release your stress and communicate effectively. And certainly to empathize with others. I mean, you know, your emotional intelligence helps you understand others' emotional intelligence, right? So yeah. And the other thing that I have found is that I've become very good also at diffusing conflict in that way. So, you know, and that's huge. You know, before it would be you irk me, or you offend me, or you trigger me, or say, and the next thing you know, it was happening. It would be this full-on happening. Not so much anymore. You know, it's, first of all, it's not worth it. You know, anger never gets you anywhere. And people have gotten to the point now, well, maybe 50 years ago that stuff worked. It doesn't work anymore. People just hang up on you. People will just walk out. People will just pull out their cell phones and start videotaping you. I mean, you know, you can't, it just doesn't work. And so, you know, the best thing to do is always be, you know, again, the best you. And if you're having difficulty finding out who that is, and start picking up, you know, again, personal growth books, self-help books, much like my own, and there are plenty of them out there that help you walk you through this. You know, we will learn from a natal tribe. And I think we can all agree that hurt people. Yes. Right. So you come from what you know, what you learn, and what you want to do is, as you're moving on and away from your natal tribe and learning that there are other ways of being, you want to love them where they're at. You never want to hurt them or offend them. You don't want to vilify them. You don't want to make it all their fault, because it's what they knew and it's what you got. And now you have to make, you know, lemonade out of lemons in certain cases. Some people, I've heard very few people along the way say, I had the perfect childhood and I had the perfect parents. Like, whoever says that? Very few.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So we all know that we come into this world and on the planet to better ourselves. So why not do it? Do the work. It's not always going to be easy. Some of it's going to be downright difficult. And it's going to confuse you, and it's going to confound you, and it's going to hurt. And you need the courage to get through some of these things, especially the things that are in my book. I mean, you'll do the work and you'll understand that at the end of that tunnel, the light is so big and so bright and so bold and so beautiful that it was so worth the work that you'll do.
Yes, that is beautifully said. And I think it is so true. And so if people want to go on that journey, and maybe for me, it was always this, I don't want to pass on things to my son that I was being passed on by my parents, not blaming them for it because they were just being passed on, right? It's just this multi-generational thing. Right. And if one of us kind of stops the passing, then hurt people don't hurt people anymore, right? But healed people.
Annika, I call that the toxic stops here. The toxic stops here, right? Yeah. So exactly what you said. You've got three choices in life. You can give in, you can give up, or you can give it all you got. And I want to give it all I got. And that means I don't want to be passing on the cancer. I don't want the toxicity to be present in any other relationships that I am in. And if I find that something is toxic or is becoming toxic, I let it go. Whether it's friends or family, or I just did this in a recent relationship where I was madly in love, don't know why, but I was, because then I woke up one day and went, you know what, this is starting to feel a little toxic. And I broke it off. Killed me. It was really difficult because I really truly cared about this person, but I had to let it go. It wasn't for my higher good. It wasn't for my greater good. So I had to let it go. Nothing in this life means anything except for the meaning you give it, right? So you have to make sure that you want to come home for Thanksgiving, come home for Christmas dinner. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Love ya. See you soon. You bring the macaroni salad, whatever it is you got to do, and you love them where they're at.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, it doesn't even have to be necessarily toxic, but I think there's just certain things that you learn that trigger you, that you pass on. And if you kind of get to a place of acceptance of that, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't create conflict anymore because it doesn't trigger you anymore.
Because you're not giving it the meaning that it doesn't deserve anymore. Exactly. Yeah. It is there. Okay. Perfect.
Well so said. If people would like to go down that road and take a journey, tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, first of all, after you've gotten a good night's sleep, or if you want to be put to sleep, no, I'm kidding. But do, read the book. It's called The Self-Esteem Regime. It is an action plan for becoming the confident person that you were meant to be. Picked up by Rowman and Littlefield in New York City. You can find it in all the Barnes & Noble stores. You can find it in many libraries, believe it or not. You can find it in Barnes & Noble. It's also on Kindle and on Audible. And the book is doing really, really well. So I'm very proud of my baby. And I think that most people are getting some great value for themselves, for their relationships, and for their life.
Great. Awesome. So everybody, have a look if this is something that you think it's time to do a reassessment, where you're at, where you want to go. This is a great place to start and do that. And if people want to follow you, where can they find you?
At the supermarket. No, kidding. You'll follow me out to the parking lot. No, you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I think, a couple Facebooks, Twitter, LinkedIn, okay. Instagram, just with my name, Clarissa Burt. You'll find me everywhere.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Clarissa. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
And I'm wishing you all the best of luck with the book.
Thanks, Annika.
And it was an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.